Okay, it's recording, so go ahead.
So, good afternoon, everyone. And I am Ryan Bagirat. And once more, again, this will be the final workshop with Service to Humanity in collaboration with Queen's Health Organization, Youth Education and Health Canada. On our final workshop topic today will be traditional medicine. And in terms of that, we're going to look at medicinal and herbal plants. Of course, I will be the one taking you through this workshop. And the objectives that we plan on gaining or we plan on executing for this workshop would be as follow. So we're here seeking to educate others on the use of different types of medicinal and herbal plants. We're educating the underprivileged on how they can utilize these plants that are found in the environment to ensure cost efficiency and of course sustainability. Now educating others as well on microbes that causes certain diseases, and of course we'll be educating others about different common chronic diseases that people are usually suffering from. So, what is traditional medicine? And as we all know, a very credible source, which is the World Health Organization, up to the year, which is this year, 2021, they define traditional medicine, and it has a very long history, and it is the sum total of the knowledge, the skill, and of course the practices that are based on various theories, beliefs, and experiences, which are of course indigenous or in terms native to different cultures. So it can either be explicable or not, and we use it in terms of the maintenance of certain health as well as in the prevention, the diagnosis, the improvement or the treatment of physical and of course mental illness. Now, what is a medicinal plant? So as we're moving along in the workshop, we're setting up the very basis of each of the principles behind traditional medicine. So the National Product and Drug Discovery in the year 2018, they defined a medicinal plant as those plants that possess therapeutic properties or they exert beneficial pharmacological effects on the body of both human beings and of course animals. So in terms of this here, we know that therapeutic properties are basically beneficial health properties in terms of medicine. Now, moving on, we're looking at herbs now. So what is a herbal plant? Now, according to Medline Plus in the year 2020, they define an herb. It is a plant or a part of a plant that is usually utilized for its scent, various flavors, or therapeutic properties, and it is labeled to be natural. Of course, we can get these type of herbal plants and we sometimes find them being sold in various forms, such as tablets, capsules, certain types of extracts in terms of powder, tea, and sometimes we find them in the form of fresh or dried plants. And this here is usually used to try and improve the state of one's health. Now, what are microbes? And this here is where a lot of microbial activities and these type of organisms, they are the cause of different types of disease, and many of them we're going to look at some of the common ones as we move along in the lecture. So microbes, they are minute. They're unicellular organisms, or which means they have a single cell. However, that means they're still alive and they're invisible to the naked eyes. So since they are microorganisms or they're known as microbes then, The microscope is usually used in order to make these types of organisms visible to us. And hi guys, I think I just had knocked off.
That's okay, Ryan. Just start again whenever you're ready.
Yes, I just had knocked off. It's the Wi-Fi, I assume. So I'm gonna start sharing back screen now.
I can edit this part
Yes,
out of the recording so that it won't show up in the final video.
sure, no problem. That
Yeah.
will be good.
Yeah,
Now,
I'll do that for you.
good.
Okay.
Now, like I was saying, we were focusing on microbes. And in terms of microbes, like I'm saying, the few of them that we'll be focusing in this lecture, it will be the bacteria, the fungi, and of course, viruses. Now, these are what bacterial organisms would look like. Of course, I'm not going very in depth with these, but they take various different shapes, various different forms. And of course, then we have the fungi. And this is what the fungus or the fungi will look like. Sometimes we see them, they're very abundant. And we see them a lot, even on certain type of plants that are growing. Of course, this is what some of them will look like in terms of various different types of mushrooms and all of these things. And of course, we're gonna have the virus cells. And as we know, virus is something that is very prevalent today in terms of COVID and all of these things that we're seeing here. Now, some of the common bacterial infections that regularly affect people are stuff like cholera, leprosy, we have tuberculosis, syphilis, pneumonia, and even tetanus. In terms of some common fungal disease that we know of, there are things like fungal nail infections, there are fungal eye infections, we have ringworm, and there are many different other types of diseases in terms of caused by species of fungi like aspergillosis. Now we have different virus diseases, of course, chickenpox, we know of herpes, we know of influenza, HIV, which is human immunodeficiency virus, HPV, which is human papillomavirus, measles, rubella, and a lot of viral diseases are, of course, well known. Now, what are the other type of diseases we're going to focus on is chronic diseases. And chronic diseases, they are usually defined broadly as conditions that last 1 year or more. And they require, of course, ongoing medical attention, or, of course, they limit the activity of daily life, or sometimes it happens in terms of both. Now, some chronic diseases that are very common we know are stuff like hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, arthritis, stroke, cholesterol, and there are many, many more. But these are the most common ones that we find that are prevalent in today's society. Now, medicinal and herbal plants. We're going to move into basically now the meat of the presentation. And the very first one we're going to focus on is the neem. And of course, we know today, especially in those countries that are becoming more economically and socially advanced, after many years of vigorous research and of course experimentations, there are many derived plants products that have been developed, of course, as well as utilized for many different reasons. And some of those practices, they're utilized locally over a long period of time. And in today's society, people still resort to these things. So many of these medicinal and herbal plants, they are utilized for a source of medicine for, of course, humans and livestock alike, but they're also used as pesticides in terms of crop control and pests and disease control. Now, in terms of the neem, of course, we know it's a tree. Of course, the bark, the leaves, and the seeds, they are used to make medicine. Of course, less frequently, however, people do utilize the roots, the flower, and the fruits. They're also being used. Now, neem leaf, it is used for many different conditions such as leprosy, eye disorders, in terms of bloody nose, to control intestinal worms, stomach upset, if there's a loss of appetite, sometimes skin ulcers, even for diseases of the heart and the blood vessels, which are cardiovascular diseases, fever, diabetes in terms of gum diseases like gingivitis, and even liver problems. So the leaf is also used for birth control in countries such as India and stuff like that, where people practice traditional medicine. And sometimes they're used in terms to avoid abortions. The bark, of course, of this tree, it is used for malaria and all of these different things here in terms of controlling it. The flower, it's used for reducing boil and, of course, like intestinal worms. The fruit, of course, it is very widely utilized for a certain type of hemorrhages, even the control of diabetes, for wound healing, and of course, leprosy. Now, the seed, of course, it's used to make seed oils, and they are used for leprosy and intestinal worms, and as birth control, like I mentioned earlier. So, neem, it's sometimes used as an insecticide in terms of people, as we know, especially the Indian people, they would take it and they'll place it on top of their rice and all of these things here in order to try and control weevil, which would invade the rice, right? So it has many beneficial uses in terms of health benefits, but it also has many different uses in terms of controlling various different type of insects and all of these things that will affect us. Now, moving on to the next plant, we're going to look at the tulsi, or as we know it as the holy basil, and it promotes a lot of health benefits in terms of the heart. It helps because of the vitamin C content, and it acts as an antioxidant because of certain compound it contains, such as eugenol. It helps to protect the heart in terms of harmful effect. It helps to reduce even the cholesterol level within the blood. In terms of anti-aging, because of the vitamin C and the A content it contains and the phytonutrients, it helps to protect the skin from almost all type of damages that are caused by any type of free radicals. In terms, we can use it in terms of the treatment of certain types of kidney stones, in terms of the multidiuretic, and of course the detoxifying agent. And this helps, of course, in lowering certain types of contents like uric acid levels, of course, in the blood. It can even help in the relief of headache when people are having migraine pain. They can at least try to utilize the tulsi. It can help to fight acne, of course. We know in terms of certain types of face outbreaks in terms of when someone consume a lot of sweet content, because it will help to fight or kill the bacteria and the infection that is causing the inflammation to gather in these basic areas here. It can help in the relief of certain type of fevers. Even it is very beneficial in terms of the eye health. It can help to promote certain types of eye benefits in terms of helping to strengthen our vision. It's used in terms of oral health, of course, that we can use it in terms of if we're having any type of mouth ulcers that are, of course, caused by certain types of bacteria or certain types of fungi and all of these things here. It helps to cure certain respiratory disorders, of course, and it contains other types of compounds such as campine, which is very beneficial in terms of viral, bacterial, and fungal infection when it comes to the respiratory system. And of course, it is a rich source of vitamin K. And the vitamin K, of course, it is an essential, we know, a fat soluble vitamin that plays an important role in our bone health and, of course, our heart health. So it is very beneficial in terms of we should learn to utilize these type of plants. Now, moving on to the next type of plant we should focus on, it would be lemon, or as they call it, lemongrass or fever grass. Of course, it is a plant, and of course, the leaves and the oils that are produced from it are used a lot in medicine. Now, we know it can be used to treat certain types of digestive tract spasms, in terms of stomach ache, high blood pressure, in terms of pain, vomiting, coughs. In terms of common cold sometime and exhaustion, it is used to kill certain types of germs, and it is very beneficial in terms of an antioxidant. Now, some people we know they would apply the lemongrass and of course the essential oil extract directly to the skin for certain types of headache, stomach ache, abdominal pain, and of course muscle pain. So it serves a multitude of different purposes, like it can help to regulate high blood pressure, like I mentioned earlier, fever, cold, exhaustion, even to the common migraine headache. We can use the lemongrass in terms of this. And it is, of course, used as an antiseptic. In terms of the content, it can be used as a disinfectant if we have the essential oil extract, in terms of cleaning certain surfaces to kill certain type of microbial organisms like bacteria, and of course certain types of fungi. Now, the fourth plant is the aloe, and it's something we know that is very common, aloe vera, and it is a medicinal plant that is used to treat various health conditions. For thousands of years, this was one of the plants that is being utilized, and we know it is a xerophyte, which is a desert plant, or it thrives in these dry, arid type of environment, and we can sometimes use it for the gel or in the gel forms that are being sold. It's also sold as cream in terms of ointment, and of course some people they go plain blank and utilize the very leaf of it, right? Now, of course, we can use it in terms of if someone is born, it helped to heal burn because of the soothing and moisturizing and cooling properties that it have. It can help to heal burns and of course take away these types of burning scars that are there. So if you know you have a burn anywhere, you can try to use this very gel, or the very the better word for it is if you cut the aloes, you're gonna see this slime content coming out. So you can take that and you can rub it on that area. Of course, it helps to improve certain types of digestion health, in terms of if a person is having certain types of bowel syndrome or in terms of stomach ailment. it is very, very beneficial in terms of that, because some people would usually take out the green part of it and they're gonna consume the very fleshy part in terms of swallowing it just like that. Of course, it's very beneficial in terms of um, it helps to inhibit the growth of certain types of bacteria like pyloric bacteria that is found in the digestive tract. And sometimes a buildup of them can lead to certain type of ulcers. So it inhibits these growth in terms of preventing them from proliferating. So it is very beneficial to consume. Like I said, sometimes it's used in oral health in terms of toothpaste and mouthwash, because it is a very natural something and it helps to improve oral hygiene, and it can help to reduce teeth plaque that are present there. So it's very beneficial to use it. In terms, it helps to clear acne, and there are many type of aloe products that are developed over the years that are being sold at certain pharmacy, and it's used to tone the skin in terms of the many ingredients and the extracts that it possess. And sometimes you're gonna find that these people, if they find that they're having these acne outbreaks on their faces, they would use the same very slime or the extract that is coming out after they cut the aloes, and they would rub it on their face. It is very beneficial to help clear the acne. It helps to release certain types of anal fissures in terms of it helps to promote certain types of healing. So you usually for these things you use the juice powder form for treating certain chronic type of fissures, and it sometimes you use it like 3 times to 6 times a week. It is very beneficial because it helps to improve or cure certain types of pain, certain types of hemorrhaging activities that are happening there, or even wound healing. Now, the next plant I'm gonna briefly look at is the daisy. And of course, the daisy would range depending on their locations, where they are around the world. Here in Guyana, where we have them looking like this, the small yellow flower that we see growing about. And overseas, this here, or in terms of the Americas, this here is the white daisy that I'm sure like Ingrid or Avery here, they would have seen these things, because these are daisies in those type of climates. So it will range. Now, of course, sometimes it's referred to as wild daisy plant, and they grow above the ground and they're used in a lot of medicinal tea. So they're used for in terms of cough, disorders of the liver and the kidneys, in terms of swelling like inflammation. They're also used as drying agent, and sometimes daisy is a very beneficial blood purifier. And some people would take them in order to prevent complications or problems during childbirth, to avoid certain type of pain and soreness and even minor bleeding. So it can be applied directly to the skin in terms of if there's a wound, or to treat certain type of skin diseases. Now, the next and the final plant I'm going to look at is the sour sop plant. And the sour sop plant, of course, it has many different type of uses in terms of it acting as an antioxidant. It helps to cure or purify or free us from certain types of cell damage that can be caused by certain type of toxins that are present inside of the body. And it can help to reduce several different types of diseases like heart disease, cancer, and of course diabetes, in terms of chronic type of diseases. Now we know that sometimes if a bacterial or a fungal infection is to continue to progress within the body, we're going to find that these things produce certain types of toxic compounds, or basically their waste materials. In terms of the fungi, they would produce like mycotoxins. And of course, it is beneficial in terms to use the sour sap, whether it is the fruit or sometimes the leaf. It is very useful in terms of cancer treatment, because especially in terms of breast cancer, it helps to inhibit, or it helps to boost certain type of immunity and fend off certain types of tumors that can be caused by these type of carcinogens. And even in leukemia cells, which is we know leukemia is cancer as well, and it helps to inhibit or stop the growth and the formation of these cancer cells. So it is a strong anti-cancer plant that is used in cancer treatment in terms of fighting certain type of bacteria. The compounds that are present within the plant itself, they will help to disrupt certain types of bacterial cell walls in terms of shattering them, disrupting the peptidoglycan and all of these things here, try to inhibit their growth or try to kill them in terms of stop them from continue to proliferate. Now, it is also, or it could also use to reduce certain type of inflammation, or it helps in anti-inflammatory responses, and it can help to stabilize the blood sugar level. In terms of, this was proven, it is very beneficial in terms of diabetics for them to consume these type of plants. So it helps especially those persons who want to be healthy and consuming a healthy diet, or it helps when you're in a very active type of lifestyle. So um, in terms of the preparation of traditional medicine, so like we know, many plants and herbal plants, they are denoted. Um, I'm having a feedback from somebody. Can somebody please mute their mic? Yes, as I was saying, many species of these medicinal and herbal plants, they're denoted by, of course, we know they're tough and fibrous roots, and they require special method of preparation. Traditional medicine in substances. So in the method of powdering, usually this involves the drying of the plant materials, and then it allows them to crush it in order to yield the powder that will be then compressed in terms of making certain type of tablets. And in terms of decoction, it is the process by which the plant materials, they are first crushed, then boiled to acquire a liquid extract. So when extracting alcohol from plants, the plant material, it's first soaked in distilled spirit or cold wine to form a tincture, as they would call it. And the traditional poultice, of course, they are also used to prepare certain types of treatment, and they are prepared by boiling the plant or a part of the plant and then wrap them in a cloth. And of course, it is applied and when new medicinal plants they have been identified, of course, commercial quantities of these drugs are either extracted or they can be synthesized from the plant material, and the pure medicinal chemical would be yield. Now, of course, This here will bring me to an end of lecture, but we're gonna play a little pop quiz right now with those people in the call at the moment. Question is, what are the main type of microbes mentioned in this lecture? Anyone feel free to unmute and answer.
Ryan, is one of them bacteria?
Correct. The first one that was mentioned is bacteria. That is one of them. There are two more.
Vi-
Pardon me, I didn't get that.
Viruses, Ryan?
Yes, virus is another class of the microbes that was focused on in this lecture, and there is a final one.
Fungi or something like that?
Yes, correct, fungi. So the three type of microbes that were mentioned in this lecture or was focused on are bacterial cells or bacteria, fungi, and of course, virus cells. Now, if we can remember, I spoke on the different types of diseases caused by certain types of microbes. And this brings us to the second question. So it says, tetanus is caused by something, whereas ringworm is caused by something. So which of the classes of microbes will tetanus be caused by? Bacteria, fungus, or virus?
I believe it's bacteria, Ryan.
Correct. It's caused by bacteria. And a ringworm, it is caused by
A
it is
fungus?
caused by a fungus. So ringworm is one of the most common known fungal disease that is known to man. So that is correct. Now, the third pop quiz question says, list some examples of common chronic disease that affect people in society. And we look at a few of the common ones that are very prevalent in today's society. So anybody want to make a try can go ahead. You can list one or more than one.
Maybe arthritis and
Correct.
diabetes.
Arthritis and diabetes, that is two. Anyone wants to list two more?
I'm seeing asthma in the chat.
Yes, asthma is also a chronic disease, correct?
What about like a cardiovascular
correct.
disease of some
Heart
kind?
disease.
Like there's a
Correct,
different-
that is correct. Cardiovascular
Yep.
disease is a chronic disease. Anyone else want to make a try? I spoke on
Lung
a
cancer
couple of
or cancer? As
correct.
Samantha.
Cancer. Cancer is one of them. We also have cholesterol. We also have things like hypertension. And like I mentioned before, I spoke of stroke, right? Anyone wants to list like any more chronic disease that they would know of or that they or people suffering from?
There's autoimmune diseases.
Correct. That is also a type of chronic disease because it lasts for sometime more than 1 year or sometime it prolongs for many years. Now the next
Just seeing Alzheimer's and mental illness in the chat.
Alzheimer's and mental illness. It is, of course, Alzheimer's as we know it. It is a molecular type of disease. So it focuses a lot in terms of gene level of things, in terms of a genomic level of things, in terms of that. But it is considered chronic because persons with Alzheimer's, the disease, of course, we know that Alzheimer's disease causes a buildup of certain type of plaques within the nervous system. And that is how people with Alzheimer's, they tend to start, their memories start deteriorating little by little. So yes, it is considered chronic, but in terms of Alzheimer's, it's more of a molecular type of disease. But it is considered chronic because it continues to prolong, and eventually when it can't anymore, it will result in death. Now, moving on, the fourth question, and this here is where we are going to see some of our plants or our common herbal plants that are utilized in the kitchen. So some persons will help me to identify them. And these are some of the common ones that are found in the kitchen. So the very first one, can someone identify this?
Garlic.
Correct. Garlic is the very first one. The second one, we use it a lot in terms of our curries and all of these things. Can someone identify this?
Turmeric?
Correct. Turmeric, or as we commonly call it, dye. In terms of the Indians, they would say dye.
Oh, cool.
Can
Didn't know
someone identify this? The middle one.
Is that parsley or cilantro? Coriander? I'm not sure.
Well, probably we call it celery. Here, we call
Okay,
it
yeah, no, I
celery.
was wrong.
Shaman again.
So celery, it is a common one that is used in the kitchen with many health benefits. In terms of this celery, sometimes we find people taking them, extracting the juice and consuming the celery juice, which is very beneficial. Someone can identify this one here?
Ginger. Or ginger.
Correct. Ginger, right? Yes. Ginger is also something that provides a lot of health benefit. People are utilizing them a lot right now, like how it's COVID time in terms of making tea and all of these things here, cooking with it in your food. It's something that gives your food a lot of flavor. And the final one here, can someone identify this? Hello?
I'm not sure, Ryan. I don't know what that is.
Clove. Clove.
Oh, it's cloves. I've never seen them like that.
I think it's because it's close. But if you look at it from a distance, it is clove. It's a spice. It's because I zoom
Yeah.
it up, I guess, but it's clove. It's a spice, and we know many of the spices that we use for certain type of food flavors, they are very beneficial because they provide a lot of health benefits to come.
Vermicelli.
Now, okay. Now the fifth question is, list some plants in Guyana that people would recommend you to use that is considered a part of traditional medicine. So if you're sick, name some of the plants people would recommend you that you should use in terms of probably the fruit or in terms of the leaf, in terms of boiling a tea or something.
I'm seeing Tulsi in the chat. Tulsi?
Correct. Well,
Karela bush.
Karela bush. Correct.
Yeah, but
None of the six that I spoke of, neem, tulsi, lemongrass, soursop, we want none of that. We're searching for new stuff right now. So list some plants that you hear. Okay, probably if you get, your grandma and she's very old, these people like their traditional medicine and believe in their traditional medicine. So what are some of the things they would tell you to use, like in terms of boil to bathe with or boil and make a tea with, Karela bush is one of them. That is correct. In terms of if Avery them don't know what is called the bitter gourd, or it's sometimes called the ground gourd. That's a popular name that it's known by, and in terms of Guyana, they would say Karela. So can
Okay.
anybody think of any other common plants that people would recommend you to use in terms of traditional medicine?
Neem.
Well, like I said, I already spoke of neem. So yes, neem is a part, of course, but some other ones that we didn't had listed before.
I saw someone write, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but Noonie in the
Yes,
chat.
correct. Nuni. Nuni is used like in terms of if somebody have an open wound or sometimes they have pain, you would find the person, they would take the nuni leaf, they would mix it with the dye in terms of making it a liquid something. They would spread it on the leaf, and of course they will sometimes some people would heat it a little with the garlic, and they would use it in order to tie around that area. So it's like a poultice. They'll tie it around that area and then they'll tie it with a cloth in order to relieve the pain.
That is so interesting. I'm learning so much.
Anyone else want to list something? The
Was
very
zebra grass there?
zebra grass.
I don't know.
Well,
Father said else.
okay. So you tell me what you know. Okay, what would zebra grass use to treat? Since you're the one that listed, because I know the zebra grass or something they would call the antelope grass. It's more of a grazing grass in terms of the animals, but there are
I
possibilities.
honestly don't know. Sorry. It's my father said else, so I said.
There are possibilities though that sometime, of course, I am still learning. Sometime I can go and check it up and I can always get back to you. But I'm not aware of the zebra grass in terms of like medicine. But it can probably be used in certain type, I'm assuming certain type of oil extracts in order to make certain type of products like maybe a soap or something. I'm just assuming right now. It's based on an assumption, but I'm can always go and check it up and get back to you guys. What do you guys think about the mango leaf?
He said that too. I was about to say that.
Yes, the mango leaf is used to boil. People would boil it in terms of with other type of herbal plant like tulsi and stuff, and they'll use it to make tea. Believe me, I try it and it's very good. You can sometime I like Ingrid and Avery them they can also try this. They can take the tulsi or the holy basil, the lemongrass, and they can boil it in terms with also the lime leaf. The lime leaf, it makes a very good tea. And you can put in other things like you want, like a piece of spice, so a couple clove, and maybe a piece of ginger. It makes a fine tea. So you guys can try it and always tell me back. It's
I will
very,
try
very
it.
beneficial.
Sounds good.
They
It
also
honestly sounds delicious.
they also have things like guava that I am aware of, and even the black sage. Even the time that we would use to cook in terms of the broad time, and even the as they say here in Guyana, the married man or the fine time, those are also very beneficial in terms of using in when you're preparing your food. It's very beneficial. Coming back to like in terms of the different type of like grasses or the herbs mostly, I don't know if anyone ever heard about something known as sweet broom, but we'll find it in terms of like the especially in the African descent or the Negroes, they would usually utilize these things a lot in terms of when they're making deer tea. So it's a traditional something that is very native to the Africans, the sweet broom. And they'll use it with other things like daisy that I spoke of earlier, and they would make deer tea. So it's very beneficial because this type of plant usually will help to boost your body's immunity or your immune system, because you're going to have all these phytocompounds or these phytochemicals that are coming from plant. You're actually having them in your body that are providing benefits like antimicrobial in terms of preventing microbes from invading your body, antioxidant, removing certain different type of toxins from your body, anti-inflammatory, preventing certain type of inflammation from gathering within your body, insecticidal in terms of preventing certain insect from not only not because it's not to deal with our body, but it can be used on the certain type of plants like your kitchen garden. In terms of your farms, you can use all of these things here. And of course, we know certain type of insects, there are possibilities that they carry certain type of virus and certain type of bacteria within them. So it's very beneficial to prevent them. Like in terms of the neem, like I said, it have anti-malarial properties. So basically what they're trying to say, if there is neem around, mosquito wouldn't be around there a lot. We know in terms of the little white moth, um, that usually comes in a lot during the rice season or when people are harvesting rice. They are capable of transferring certain type of viruses like CMV, for example, cassava mosaic virus, we would know. And these type of insecticides can develop to prevent these things from coming around your kitchen garden, because not because its name has cassava inside. The virus affect a wide range of vegetables and plants that we can consume, like tomatoes and even to peppers. So we must take into consideration that plants are very important and they're very, very beneficial to us. That would bring me to an end of this lecture. So I'm open to any questions and I can try to answer them as best as I can.
Oh yeah, my father said that silvergrass is used to clean your liver and stuff to get back the redness of it and spikes if you're allergic to it and if it's come out too bad and stuff.
Okay, well, I just learned something there as well, despite I'm taking you guys through this lecture. I just learned something. Maybe when I'm finished here, I'm gonna go check it out more, look up more on it. So what I suggest that anyone can do, they can always go on Google and they can always keep track of medicinal and horrible plant. Just type in medicinal and horrible plant. You're going to see a lot of them come up. You're going to see a lot of these different type of plant. You can always check them out in terms of their benefits, in terms of their properties, and all of these things here. So you can get to be more aware of them. You can also be aware of how to use them, how to utilize them. Even what just like how I am here, I would go when I feel little nice and I would go and pick my little herbs like my tulsi and like the lime and the lemongrass, and I would boil it and I would sit and drink my tea comfortable. So it's something that you guys should know about, you should be aware of, right?
So, Ryan, this was really interesting. I feel like I learned so much. I just had a question about something you mentioned at the beginning of your lecture, where you mentioned how this was a really kind of accessible and sustainable option. So would you say that all of these plants are very accessible to everyone so that like many people can take advantage of these herbal remedies?
Yes, I would say that as long as you get access to these plants here, because they're very common in the environment. Take, for example, the lemongrass. It is a beneficial plant, but in terms of the environment, sometimes, right? People usually overlook these things. Sometimes they view it in terms that it's a weed, and they don't focus that it's a lemongrass plant that is growing there or a lemongrass is there. They would usually sometimes they would remove it, whether it's done manually or mechanically. So as long as you can get access to these plants, it is very beneficial because it will help to maintain efficiency and sustainability in terms of certain type of costs. Let's say your immune system is at its maximum by the use of certain types of traditional medicine. At least you would be immune to certain types of pathogens that will cause certain types of diseases, and it will be cost efficient since it will cost little or nothing. All you have to do is just gather your plant, and utilize it in whatever way you want, whether it's a tea or however you find it fitting. You rather chew the leaf or you rather consume it, however you want. Sometimes you can even take it like the lemongrass, for example. You can take it and place it in your curry while it's cooking. It provides an additional flavor to the food. So it is cost effective, and of course, in simple terms, less charges on doctor bills, in my opinion. So it will help these people who are very underprivileged in terms of they can't afford medical bill. This would be something very beneficial to them in terms to look at and listen to and learn from it.
Well, Ryan, that is amazing. I'm so glad that you made this presentation. It's been really good, and we're gonna post it, so I think it'll be really helpful for people to see online as well.
Yes, I think that would be great. Of course, we would share around the links for each of the workshops via Facebook, via WhatsApp, and those people who are on the call, we can also ask you guys to help us in terms of sharing these workshops that others can also view and they can at least benefit from it or from these workshops. So we are imploring you to help us in terms of promoting our channel because QHO have one and Service to Humanity have their own YouTube channel, and the contents that are posted there are very, very beneficial. And I'm sure I would also like to extend a thank you to QHO and the casting members because you guys, it's been a very nice ride, I should say, working with you all. And I hope we continue, not because it's the end of the workshop. The Guyana initiative means that we'll lose contact because there are many other interesting things that we can come up like with and say, hi, this is very interesting. We should host a workshop on it.
Yeah, I completely agree, Ryan. I'm gonna stop the recording now, and